Folks, it was a great U.S. Open Sunday, and instead of ordering food, I used our good friends at Blue Apron. This episode, this U.S. Open recap, is brought to you by our friends at Blue Apron. Blue Apron is incredibly affordable for less than $10 per person per meal. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. There's tons of variety. You choose from a variety of new recipes each week or let Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you. Recipes are not repeated within a year, so you'll never get bored. You can customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron has several delivery options, so you can choose what fits your needs. There's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Blue Apron's freshness guaranteed promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook or they'll make it right. Check out this week's menu. Get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/foreplay. That's blueapron.com/foreplay, FOREPLAY. You will love how good it feels, tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/foreplay. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Barstool Sports presents Foreplay with your boys Riggs and Trent.
Hello.
Also joined, of course, as always, by our producer Sunshine.
What's up?
We have a lot to talk about, much to talk about. We're coming off the U.S. Open.
A lot to chew on from this one.
We're coming off of Father's Day. Happy Father's Day out there to all of the patrons.
I bet we got some father listeners, right?
I think we have probably many, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, Dad's golf, so hopefully you had a good Father's Day. Maybe the wife took the kids away and you got to golf all day by yourself. That would be the best Father's Day I can imagine.
Yep. The second best might have been you just got to sit your ass on the couch and not be bothered and watch U.S. Open golf all afternoon.
I'm not a dad, and I did that.
I'm not a dad either, and I did the same thing. My old man's a big fan of the show, so shout out to my dad, who amazingly has figured out the technology to listen to this show.
I was going to ask you that because my parents could not know less about the technology. I could give them 5 years and they would not find out how to access this podcast. So I'm impressed.
I'm pretty stunned. I will say I think that we're kind of getting to the point now where dads and parents, it's been like 10 years or so that we've kind of had the smartphone around.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to the point where like they can figure it out now. Now, I did say to my dad, because he comments, like topically comments when I talk to him about things that we brought up on the show.
Yeah.
And I finally brought it up. I was like, how the fuck can you, like, how do you know how to listen to the show? And he's like, well, your mom downloaded the app.
There you go.
She told me to hit this button like every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
My dad does not listen to the podcast. As far as I know, he could be more tech savvy than I realize. But the only way I know he keeps up with me because I helped him with his computer one time, and he gave it to me. I made him get a MacBook so I could like mess with it if he ever called me.
Right.
And up on the bar where it has like your saved pages, it has Trent's Twitter page. So I'm guessing he just tweets that or clicks on it from time to time to see what his son is up to.
Very interesting.
So until I see Trent's podcast up on the bar up there, I don't think he's listening.
To my knowledge, my parents are not aware of Twitter or Instagram.
Oh, okay.
But my mom's a big Facebooker.
Oh, yeah.
So anything I put on, like sometimes I'll put stuff up there specifically like redundant from my other social media accounts, but just so my mom will see it.
Sure.
Because I don't think that they're really in on the Twitter, Instagram game. They could be surprising me and following all my tweets, which would be weird for me because I feel like they don't know about that part of my life.
That's funny because that's like the only part of my life my parents know about. My mom checks Twitter to make sure I'm still alive. She's told me that on multiple occasions.
I check your Twitter to make sure you're still alive.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah. If we had like a rough night, I'll be like, is Trent all right this morning? Check your Twitter.
My parents will never be on Instagram. If they start Instagram, and I might like just quit the internet and like build something in the woods.
It's a weird dynamic, like your world's colliding like that.
Yeah. I remember that I had that weird dynamic when I first started a blog, like my own blog to itself. Mm-hmm. I never wanted my parents to find it because it's what I do at Barstool now, but it was before I had told everyone like I want to be a blogger, so it was pretty fucked up.
I think about that with some of the blogs I write where I'm like, oh shit, my mom's probably going to read this. God damn it.
My mom stopped reading the site probably 2 days after I started because
really?
She couldn't. She's fine with what I do for a living, but she's like, I'm not going to read it.
Yeah, that probably makes sense. Anyways, happy Father's Day to my pops out there. It's Travelers Championship week. We have a little bit of an announcement. Mm-hmm. We are going to be there Wednesday night and Thursday. Trent, myself, Sunshine, we're going to be up there. We're going to be at the plan as of now is Chicago Sam's Bar, We've never been there before.
No, but this is the place apparently where they met last year before the Travelers.
We're going to have T-shirts. We're going to follow Keegan around, the People's Golfer. There's a little bit of controversy about whether Smiley or Keegan is the current People's Golfer. I believe there might have been an agreement made with Smiley, but according to Dave, neither he nor Smiley remember it.
Yeah, there's a couple things working against Smiley here. One, we don't know if Smiley remembers being crowned the next People's Golfer. And also, we're going to a part of the country where Keegan is very popular, so we're going to follow Keegan around with our Keegan shirts on.
Keegan, New Hampshire guy, big New England guy. So we're going to be there. We're going to be following Keegan. We're going to have a bunch of T-shirts. We're planning on being at Chicago Sam's at 8 p.m. on Wednesday night. We're going to give out some shirts. We're going to hang out. So if you're in town, come hang out with us. We're going to be tweeting about it and posting a blog as well, so you can get all the details there. Depending on Keegan's tee time on Thursday will depend kind of our plan for meeting up and how to approach things logistically on Thursday.
Yep.
We won't know his tee time till later in the week, so we'll figure all that out. But we're going to be up there for Thursday. It's going to be fun. Big episode this week. We've got a couple guests. We got Shane Bacon of Fox Sports.
Yes.
Who's a great guy. Was a really funny, interesting chat we had with him. Obviously, he's been through one of the biggest weeks of his career.
Yep.
Being kind of their go-to on the course, interviewing guys when they come off the course.
He's great at what he does. He really is, and he was an awesome guest for the podcast.
Really good at what he does. I was even talking with a couple of my Golf Channel folks who were nothing but praises for the job that he and those guys did.
We talked a little bit after the interview, and I said I want to buy as much Shane Bacon stock as I can because he's going to be one of the next big things in the broadcasting world.
You did say that. That's true.
It's true.
So we had a really good chat with him. We also had my buddy Mike Welch, Welchy, who caddied for Sam Ryder at the U.S. Open this past week. So we get a little caddy's perspective for a few minutes, what it was like to be on the grounds. Anyways, U.S. Open. It was. It's always one of the best weeks of the year. This one was weird. It was different, very different.
We were not shy about saying we want as much carnage as possible. We want them to turn the screws on the players. We want as much fescue, as much wind. We want high scores. We want people to be hovering around par. That did not happen.
It did not happen. It's been an internal struggle for me, whether I'm pissed about that or not, whether I don't care, whether I just want to see good golf. I still don't 100% know how I feel about it. The bottom line is it was very entertaining to watch.
Right. It's almost like long term. In my long term brain, I want to be like, I want all U.S. Opens to be really, really tough and hard and tough on the players. But then in the short term, I watched something like what Justin Thomas did on Saturday. I'm like, I had a lot of fun watching that happen. Brooks Koepka on Sunday, I had a lot of fun watching that happen. So it's tough to really make a decision. I'm not sure still how I feel about it.
I very much enjoyed it. I think it's almost unanimous, undeniable in any way. The best player who played the best golf won.
Which is
kind
of
no doubt about that.
Right, and that's all you kind of want coming away from a tournament.
So I feel like whether the course was firm as fuck, whether it was windy as fuck, or whether the wind was pretty much down and it was very soft like it was, if they played the way that they all played this week, I think Brooks Koepka was going to win no matter what he did. He won going away. It was actually pretty anticlimactic down the stretch because all week we had this packed leaderboard. We had, 15, 18 guys within 3 or 4 shots of the lead after every round. Nobody was running away, and then the last hour and a half, kind of sucked.
Well, then going into Sunday, you even had the storylines where you had Justin Thomas, everybody was kind of pulling for him. Ricky Fowler, I know you were pulling for him, so were a lot of people. So you had an interesting leaderboard, and then Brooks Koepka, down the stretch, just pulled away, and it was kind of like, oh, I guess Brooks is going to win this thing.
It was very weird in terms of kind of analyzing the drama and how everything unfolded, and that the peak of the tournament was probably with 2 hours left in the coverage on Saturday.
Right,
when Justin Thomas,
yeah.
when he made that putt for eagle after having to sit there for 15 minutes on his bag.
Yeah.
That was probably the peak of the tournament. I mean, that was like, holy shit. He's just, all of a sudden, we had this huge pack of guys at 9. That putt got JT to 11 under. It was like, these guys are going to have to chase JT all day Sunday. This is going to be crazy. And then everybody went out and finished several under. Harman got, to 12? He teed off at 12 on Sunday. There were a couple guys at 11. And then it just, nothing really materialized on Sunday. I mean, at the turn, it was still relatively tight, but nobody was doing anything. JT was struggling.
JT was struggling. The only thing that really happened was Matsuyama made a huge run.
He made a great run. When he got in at 12, you started to think, okay. And this is where I start to get a little, I start to wish that the course had been tough because it almost looked like nobody was nervous.
No.
The course was playing, the fairways were so wide and it was so soft. And even though it was way windier and it played a couple strokes tougher, yesterday than it did Saturday, it just didn't seem like those guys were nervous in the way that when they're playing some of those unbelievably tough classic closing stretches, they're nervous as fuck because they know they have to hit a perfect shot. These guys were just stepping up and ripping it, and maybe that's just a credit to where these guys are now, that they're so good and they're so well trained that they didn't care.
That's what I was going to say, because they asked, I believe, Brooks Koepka, like, were you nervous? And he said, I was not nervous one bit on Sunday. I don't know if that speaks more to Brooks Koepka, the player, or how the course was playing. But yeah, nobody looked nervous at all. It's just kind of like a Sunday stroll.
And, I don't know if I would have been nervous if I was him either, because he's hitting the ball fucking perfectly. Yeah. He was just killing the ball. He hit, I think, 87% of fairways over the course of the week, 86% of greens in regulation. He hit 17 out of 18 greens yesterday at the U.S. fucking Open in the final round. And he wasn't just hitting like 4 irons out there, 250. No. He was punishing drives. It was crazy. He was hitting he hit his 3-wood, 379 on 18. He was ripping driver all week. It was such a weird feeling to not see someone cling to a U.S. Open lead.
Yeah.
But he had the 3 birdies in a row on the back nine, and it was just fucking over.
It was over. I mean, I guess a guy like Brooks Koepka, he's not going to lack in confidence in anything. He's a good-looking man. So maybe that's kind of You know what's funny is I kept seeing today that Brooks Koepka, he's like, he doesn't care about golf. He's like, it's not his favorite sport.
Yeah, he had said, he had a quote from a couple of years ago wherever he was like, if I could do it over again, I would have stuck with baseball.
It's crazy.
Now he's the U.S. Open champ.
He's cashing a $2 million check, and he's like, I guess I'm pretty good at this golf thing.
And it's almost impossible after the way that he played, especially on Sunday, to not fall into the this guy is just going to start winning all the time now because he looked that good.
Right, exactly. This Brooks Koepka thing, it's been coming for a little bit. He kind of was always the guy who looks the part. He kind of looks like a mini DJ in terms of athleticism, but then he never kind of turned it on and won that major. Now he's got the major, and sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, and he won the Waste Management in 2015. Yeah. He was a big part of the Ryder Cup team.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, he's got the U.S. Open. It was wild. Like I said, it was a little anticlimactic, but there's really no way to. He just played fucking way better than everybody else, especially on Sunday. He looked so good when he came out and birdied the first 2 holes. It was like, because I had made it pretty public that I had bet on Ricky. I was sticking with my bet.
You not only made it public, you made a video cheering Ricky on. You had the whole deal. You wearing Puma.
All in on Ricky. I pulled out my Ricky hat, which is uncomfortable. It's too small for my head, so my head was hurting.
Yeah.
But I stuck with it for a couple holes, and he started making bogeys. I was like, fuck this hat.
Yeah.
But when Ricky was kind of shaky, grinding out par putts, and then I looked and saw Brooks Koepka just ripping shots down the middle of the fairway, hitting irons in the middle of the tough greens, making birdies on 1 and 2 very easily. I was like, this is not good.
Yeah, the most disappointing thing for me on Sunday was Justin Thomas. I was hoping that, you have a 60.
Didn't have it from the start.
That's the thing, yeah. And you shoot a 63 on Saturday, and then you're supposed to come back and try and play again and play as good as you did that day. So that was tough. I was pulling for him. I wanted to see him finally get out completely from under the Jordan Spieth's buddy deal, which now he is because he's already, won 3 times this season?
Yeah.
So that's in the past, but him getting a major would really put a stamp on it's pretty much a career season for him.
Yeah, and we were all excited because that picture of him and Spieth when they were like fucking 10 years old or whatever was going all over. Mm-hmm. We were going to put it on a T-shirt.
We had dollar bills or dollar signs in our eyes with T-shirts.
All up in our eyes, and then he kind of came out and struggled. And it's the biggest cliche in the world, but it's so true that it's so hard to follow up an unbelievable round with another good one.
Yeah.
Ricky did the same thing, with his 65 to open the tournament, and then never really got it going too much after that. So there's obviously all the talking heads are, does Ricky have it in the weekend in a major? He's been in the position a bunch of times now, of times.
There's probably some validity somewhere, but that seems almost too easy.
I agree.
He's a hell of a player. He's a great player. He's going to get one eventually. It's just he's got to put 4 rounds together.
And he gets the natural pushback because he's so popular.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, well, does he deserve it, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that was the talk before he won the Players a couple years ago is he the most overrated player?
Right. That poll had come out among the guys on
Now, I think that's going to start bubbling up a little bit more because, people forget that he won the Players and he's a very good player. So we'll see where it goes with Ricky from here.
Yeah, and he's, he's a great putter and he was been hitting the ball really well, but he only hit, I think, 11 greens on both Saturday and Sunday, something like that. So when you're playing against a guy that hit 17, you're probably not going to win. He didn't. There were a bunch of other storylines. We had one of my favorites, a little fun one here. Patrick Reed.
Yes.
Rocking the old USA Ryder Cup pants.
You and I joked, I think I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, that we're like, man, he looks like he's basically playing in the Ryder Cup the way he's dressing right now. And then come to find out in an interview with our friend Shane Bacon, who you'll hear later in the podcast, he brought like 8 pairs of Ryder Cup pants and was rocking them the whole week because he's like, if I play well in the Ryder Cup, maybe this juju will work when I'm out here at the U.S. Open.
The fact that he actually is embracing the Captain America thing and is like, well, I play my fucking best when I'm dressed head to toe USA, so I'm just going to do it in the majors in the U.S. Open. He was legitimately in his Ryder Cup outfit.
He was wearing Ryder Cup pants.
I thought he was going to start shushing the crowd and stuff. I was all fired up for it.
He just puts on a USA cap. He should wear USA colors all the time. I do love that he's embracing the Captain America thing because that's what he is.
He was almost doing like what I do in the Tiger Woods video game franchise. When I create my own character, I just make him all kinds of different USA color schemes, all of his different outfits. That's literally Patrick Reed is doing that.
He's doing it literally on the course, wearing Ryder Cup pants, wearing Ryder Cup colors. I mean, he didn't end up, what did he shot a 74 on Sunday, so he faded a little bit, but that was fun for a while.
Yeah, it was good. I like that a lot. I think if he embraces that, he might get up to that, top 5 player in the world stuff that he's always talked about.
And I think he should have hypnotherapy done where every tournament he thinks is the Ryder Cup.
You're right.
And then he'll win. He'll never not win.
Like his agent should just lie to him. Be like, no, this is Ryder Cup week this week. Trust me.
It's like the jokes people made before Dustin finally won at Oakmont, where if he can get hypnotized into thinking every day is Thursday, Friday, then he'll win every single tournament.
Yeah, so I think that his agent should talk to the tournament officials, and they should pair him with Spieth and only Spieth every round and just see what he does.
Have fans in the crowd with American flags, just like completely, trick him into thinking.
Yeah, get him like those contact lenses so everything looks like the whole crowd is dressed in like red, white, and blue.
I don't want to say we just saved. Patrick Reed's career is going fine. He's going to be just as fine as he was going to be. But if he thinks everything's a Ryder Cup, he'll never not win a tournament.
We had a little irony, which I love. I love some good irony. We had the Kevin Na posted the video, I think it was last weekend, the weekend before the tournament started, about the fescue. It went crazy viral. Rory had a little bit of a reaction to that. It wasn't necessarily a direct reaction, but he kind of talked like, these guys talking about the fescue. Fairways are 50, 60 yards wide. If you're hitting it into the fescue, if you're missing these fairways, you should just pack your bags and go home. Rory packed his bags and went home Friday afternoon.
And Rory's big thing was the reaction to, during a press conference, he found out that they were cutting the fescue back.
Right.
And he was like, they shouldn't be doing that. The fairways are wide enough, blah, blah, blah. If you can't hit them, go home. Rory went home. He shot a 78 on Thursday, and it just never could get it back.
Yeah, and I wrote down here, too, that Brandel Chambly and Frank Nobilo had both picked Rory as their winner.
I picked Rory, too.
I think on the podcast, I might have said Rory.
Oh, no, I picked Dustin.
You picked Dustin, who also missed the cut.
Yep.
I picked Rory. That was kind of, I guess, the big surprise was that all 3 of them missed the cut. Excuse me. Jason Day was fucking 10 over par. He looked horrific.
I don't even remember him being. I don't know if they showed him on TV. I don't remember him being at this tournament whatsoever.
He was absolutely terrible. DJ was 4 over. Rory finished 5 over, and that was with, I think he closed with a 4 birdie stretch.
Yeah.
His last round to get to 5 over. So seeing those 3, it's already been beaten to the ground, but everybody's like Bombers Paradise, Bombers Paradise, Bombers Paradise. 3 of the big Bombers who are number 1, number 2, number 3 ranked players in the world. MC Hammer going home early. So there's a little bit of irony in there. We got Johnny Miller and JT getting into it. Trent, do you want to read Johnny Miller's comments? So JT shoots the 63. He shoots a 63 to tie the lowest score in a major, but to break the lowest score in U.S. Open history relative to par, which had previously been 7. He was 9 under. Johnny Miller, when asked about this,
and to quote, taking nothing away. Oh, something just popped up on my screen. Hold on. Yep. Taking nothing away from 9 under par. 9 under is incredible with U.S. Open pressure, but it isn't a U.S. Open course that I'm familiar with the way it was set up. A 63 for a par 72 is a heck of a score, even if it was the Milwaukee Open.
So I'm a huge Johnny Miller guy. I love him.
Maybe the only one in the world.
I love Johnny Miller. I just think he's so blunt. He's so honest. He genuinely comes from this vantage point of like thinking he and his generation were way better and way more talented and wants to let everybody know about it, which I don't think that's fake. That's just very genuine. And his reaction to this, I don't know. Was it reporters like tracked him down to get his reaction or something?
Oh God, I'm gonna mess it up. Ryan Lavner.
Yeah, it was
from
the Golf
Channel.
Right.
Tracked Johnny down. Must have called him up.
Genius move.
Oh yeah.
So like, I gotta hear what Johnny
That's how
has
you
to
go.
say.
Like that's how you see an opportunity and take it.
Johnny was just sitting by his phone like, somebody fucking call me.
Somebody call me.
I gotta talk about this.
Hey, I'm gonna create a Twitter account right now if nobody calls me.
His comment was perfect because everybody knows what he's saying. The whole part about it isn't a U.S. Open course I'm familiar with is true. Everybody knows that's true. We had more people under par after the first round, second round, third round. Overall, 31 guys finished under par, more than it's ever been. 16 under ties the record. Everybody knows this is not, the Oakmonts or the Shinnecocks or the Winged Foots of U.S. Open golf course lore. But the way that he phrased it, throwing in the line about even if it was the Milwaukee Open, it's like a Shooter McGavin line.
Yeah.
Chirping, if Happy Gilmore shot like a course record, that's literally what the fucking writers would have written in there.
If you had asked like all the Johnny Miller haters out there, which is everyone except Riggs,
except me, love Johnny Miller,
write a script for what Johnny's going to say in response to Justin Thomas's 63, it would have been something like this. It wouldn't have been Milwaukee Open. It would have been something like that. But that's the thing about Johnny Miller that I have a shred of respect for is I knew this comment was coming. I knew he wasn't going to be like, I'm so happy. I'm now passing this record on. It was the Milwaukee Open.
It was so good. It was so perfect. And I had, this is Saturday evening, and I had a long day, and I thought about, I knew it was just going to take one tweet, but everyone was like, salty Johnny.
Yep.
And I was going to come out with this fierce defense of Johnny on Twitter. But I knew, like, my night would have just been getting started.
Yeah, yep.
I would have been fending people off all night. So I didn't do it. I just bit my lip, put my phone down, fell asleep at like 9 o'clock. But I wanted to so badly. Johnny, I want you to know, my Twitter fingers were ready. I was excited, but I ended up, I didn't think it was worth the fight. So I didn't do it.
Here's the thing. We can talk a little bit about this. I don't disagree with what Johnny said necessarily because the course conditions were easier than a normal U.S. Open. It was that as soon as someone asked him, 10 seconds after Justin Thomas's round, that's when he decided to take the jab. He couldn't just say, oh, yes, that was very well done by the young kid. I'm happy for him. He couldn't cut it there. He had to go on and say, but, mine's better, so, try again next time. But that's what I didn't like about it.
Even if it was the Milwaukee Open, it's just such a good line.
Such an asshole. Such an asshole.
We also had some more drama. We had our guy, Steve Elkington, get into it on Twitter with Rory McIlroy.
Got buried.
There's really no other way to put it. He kind of got buried.
Yeah, I didn't want to do the whole, which I forget what you call it, like the politicization, politics. Oh, fired. Oh, he got evisceration.
That's what the political people love that one. Eviscerated.
It's the John Oliver of the world. Like whenever he does anything, he eviscerates. He blows them out. He does this. He does
that. Which
that.
Sucks.
But Elk, he said Rory was bored with playing golf. He said looks like he's the most bored out there, and Rory did not take kindly to that whatsoever.
Yeah, he said Rory is so bored playing golf. Without Tiger, the threshold is probably 4 majors with 100 mil in the bank. Rory came back with more like 200 mil. Not bad for a quote-unquote bored 28-year-old. Plenty more where that came from, and he also included a screenshot of his Wikipedia and all of his accomplishments.
What a world we're living in. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I love Elk. Elk's an opinionated guy. He fires off tweets like this all the time about all kinds of different people.
Mm-hmm.
He went in on Poulter when Poltz played for second blatantly. And he goes after people, and occasionally there's going to be people that are more successful and more famous and have more to gloat about than Steve Elkington does.
Yeah.
And he ran into one of them, and Rory came over the top. I mean, when you can basically dummy somebody's tweet and make them look like they totally undersold you by saying you have 100 mil in the bank,
and
you're going to win that Twitter argument. So, I mean, I love Elk. I still do. Elk's the man. He's opinionated. I don't think the place that he was coming from with this comment is wrong. I think there is a certain amount of truth to the fact that when you make a ton more money as a young guy, you're probably become more complacent and less hungry to go out there and win. But I'm not saying that's 100% applicable to everybody or that it's 100% applicable to Rory here. But I think that the train of thought that he's coming from to some degree on some players is true.
I would, and I don't want to go at Rory because Rory's my guy, but I think there have been questions about if he's won so much early on, if he's motivated. I remember after he got that ankle injury playing soccer with his buds, and somebody asked him at one of the next press conferences and said, what's how much did you miss the game? Like, what was that like? And he's like, I didn't miss it at all.
Right, and he's also gone on the record and said, like, I don't want Tiger Woods' life, where he's like got all those majors, but he seems like not sure how great his off the course life is and all that. He said, like, I'd rather have my life.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So there's a little bit of, but obviously Elk still got buried.
He did.
But I know where Elk's coming from with these comments. He
Me
just
too.
maybe could have done it a little less, get buried.
And as much as I love Elk, I love Rory just as much, if not more. So when I blogged it, I was like, he got buried. This is why I love Rory. Rory is willing to take haters and just be like, all right, well then watch this. I have $200 million in the bank.
Yeah, it's what sets him apart too.
Yes.
From a lot of the other guys are like, they just stay away from all this stuff, play it safe, secure. He just kind of fires from the hip, which I like. So that was fascinating. I kind of stayed quiet on that on Twitter. Like I said, Elk's my boy.
It's like, I mean, they're fighting over your friends. It's like,
totally.
Fuck, I don't know what to do.
Yes, exactly.
I have no idea what to do.
Exactly. It's like when mom and dad fight, kind of. And you're
there
like,
you go.
I don't know. I'm not picking sides. It was like, just let them fight it out. I understood where both are coming from, but it was, touche to Rory. He's got his Wikipedia page, which is impressive, and he's got $200 million in the bank.
I love Rory so much. I can't say it enough.
Steve Stricker had an awesome week. The guy's 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be the captain of the President's Cup team. He got denied his exemption and then qualified on his own to play in his home state.
Yep.
What a week for Strick. The guy just won't go anywhere. His swing, he's got that dead arm swing. Getting around this track as a 50-year-old guy, they're talking about how long it is, how it's a bomber's paradise, this, that. He's out there making putts, doing his thing. You got to love Steve Stricker.
Yeah, I do. Anytime, I am a huge sucker for people playing on like their home courses or in their home state. I am such a sucker for narratives and stories. That's probably why I got sucked up in the Justin Thomas thing, because I was like, oh, he's going to win this thing after shooting a 63. Stricker is, he's at home in Wisconsin, shoots a 500, goes back-to-back 69s. Nice. It was just cool to see. It was a good story.
Yeah, I love Strix. He only plays, a dozen or so tournaments a year. I think he's playing in the Senior Open in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Up in Salem, Mass. So he's the journeyman, the old guy out there at 50, making the cut. What did he shoot, 4 under or something? He might have backdoored like a top 25.
He ended up at 5 under.
5 under. So you got to love that. T16, look at that.
He's popular in my part of the world as well, which is near Wisconsin, because he dominates the John Deere Classic.
That's right. He's won that like a billion times.
He won it 3 years in a row.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Strix.
They love him over there in the Quad Cities.
So last thing on the U.S. Open that I want to address is the yelling situation.
You brought that up like a teacher. You're like, all right, I'd like to address one more thing with the class.
Last thing on the syllabus, folks, is the yelling. We had some JJOs, we had some Viva Las Stools. There were a couple Baba Booies. It's people doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to the Pardon My Take boys. If you don't listen to that show, go check it out. Pardon My Take on iTunes. They're obviously great. They're the biggest podcast on the planet. They actually covered this really well this morning's show. Look, are people that yell into microphones like drunken idiots? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a sporting event is. If you put somebody out there for several hours, all day, out in the sun, drinking beers,
mm-hmm.
and you put a hot mic and you put camera and a chance to get on TV, people are going to yell and be dumb. That's just what it is. That's how it is. Whether we retweet it or talk about it or whatever has literally no bearing on that whatsoever.
Nope.
People are going to do it.
We might be able to have a bearing on what they say, but people are going to be saying things regardless.
Absolutely. And so the point is that if you're going to be out there bitching and complaining about that, you just don't get it. You don't understand. Who gives a shit? People are yelling. It's not affecting the play. They're yelling well after the guys strike the ball. They're yelling very dumb stuff. I totally agree. They are idiots.
JJO being one of those things.
JJO is very stupid. The creator of it would agree. It's unbelievably stupid.
I'll say it to his face right now. I'll bring him in here.
Totally stupid. Everybody agrees with that. But it is what it is. It's just a sporting event. If it bothers you, it actually makes us love it more that it bothers you.
I know. I got a couple tweets about that, and I agreed with those. Like, the more people get their panties in a bunch over people yelling at a sporting event, the more it makes me want people to do it.
Because it's so dumb. Who cares?
I can't even imagine having an opinion to the point where I get so mad at someone yelling at a sporting event that I tweet about it, that I talk about it, that I get visibly mad about it. I can't even imagine having that opinion.
Completely agree. And so, I get it when people... people are like, well, this is lame. Of course it is. It's absolutely lame. But people are going to yell no matter what. That's what people do at sporting events. They get drunk. They're out in the sun all day. They're going to yell. If they're going to yell stuff, might as well yell a little love towards us.
Yeah. Oh, and the Barstool Viva La Stool will forever be part of Brooks Koepka's U.S. Open because they screamed it right during his last putt.
That one was timed perfectly. Again, absolutely no harm.
That's the thing. Oh, okay. Think about it this way. It could be a lot worse. People could be doing it during the swings. Maybe they could be yelling racial slurs. They could be doing anything. Instead, it's after. It's harmless. It's just stupid.
It's just a little shout out to your boys over at Barstool Sports. Brooks Koepka taps in a 1-footer, and the guy just right next to the hot mic gives it a little Viva La Stool.
Yeah.
It's just funny. We're going to throw it on the internet. We're going to show that our people are out there. They're representing. It's really not a big deal. I love it now more because people hate it so much.
I know. That's classic because we could sit here right now and tell people to stop yelling. Hey, stop yelling, and they're going to do it 10 times more.
100%.
You can't stop it. It's out of the bag now. I saw our guy, or not our guy, but Jason Sobel at ESPN tweeted the ugly truth about these people yelling. There's no ugly truth. It's just harmless, stupid fun.
Right. The ugly truth is like when your uncle murdered somebody.
Yeah. The ugly truth of this family is that we are covering a murder.
This is drunk spectators in an event yelling some sort of slogan that they picked up from a podcast or a radio show or something like that.
Exactly. It's totally fine. Everybody, just take a deep breath. It's going to be totally fine.
It's going to be fine, folks. It's people at a golf tournament having a couple beers, having a good time. If you're like really that against it, then you're just against like having beers at sporting events.
Yeah. Then you don't like the Ryder Cup either. So
we need to have a whole nother discussion with you folks. All right, next up, we got our interview with Shane Bacon
Great
of
guy.
Fox Sports. Great dude. Very interesting chat. He was obviously on site all week, conducting a bunch of interviews. Everybody enjoy this little bit with Shane Bacon.
This interview with Shane Bacon is brought to you by BetDSI.com. It's time to play, win, and get paid. BetDSI, over 20 years, Riggs, over 20 years in the business. Top-rated, safe. I play there over the weekend. I bet on Tiger. He didn't play. My bad.
Oh, you would have lost money then, Nate Dogg.
Yeah, but the good thing about BetDSI is it's safe. And check out this offer. Free $25 bonus, Riggs. Did you know that?
I did. How are they going to get that, Nate Dogg?
Well, since I was a first-time user, I got a free $25 this last weekend using promo code GOLF25. That's GOLF25 to claim that limited-time offer. But also, you got a 100% bonus on your first deposit. So you put in $50, they match it. Amazing. Great customer service. If you ever have any questions at all, they're right there, willing and able to help you. Easy payment on your winnings. And the best thing they do, fantasy matchups and player versus player wagers. If I want to wager versus somebody else, I can do it. Hundreds of wagers on PGA, NBA, NHL, NASCAR, F1, UFC. The list goes on and 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 on. BetDSI even has live in-game wagering, live bullets on major sporting events. You can play virtually every sport on BetDSI. So use promo code what?
Golf25.
Goddamn right. Golf25, your limited time free bonus. BetDSI.com now. That's BetDSI.com. Go there, win money. Don't bet on Tiger.
All right, now we are joined with Shane Bacon. If you don't know who Shane Bacon is, if you caught any of the coverage, he is the really good-looking Jack dude that was interviewing everybody on the course after they finished. We were kind of talking, Trent and I, it's getting kind of annoying with Brooks Koepka, and then you're kind of starting to it's not supposed to be like that.
Dude, I'm telling you this. I mean, Koepka's legitimately his arms in person. I was joking. So when we get the interview guys coming over, they'll come and sit and they'll normally have a minute or two to just kind of chill. And Ricky comes over on Saturday. And he's sitting there, and, I'd done, 2 or 3 interviews already with Ricky that week. And, I mean, Ricky is legitimately one of the nicest people that you can interview in the world. And he's sitting there, and I'd kind of ask him, I was like, is Koepka's arms, have they doubled in size the last year? And he was kind of joking. And then he, cinched his shirt, and tightened it under his armpit right on his bicep. And he was like, is this kind of Koepka-ish? And I was like, Ricky, man, sorry, buddy, but, it's not even close.
Man, I couldn't.
I don't want to be rude, but not even close.
I couldn't tell if that was you guys with the Fox, you got all your graphics over there. I couldn't tell if you guys were pumping his arms up or something.
It felt like it, but it was a crazy week, and I'm sure you guys have chatted about it, but I think there was a lot of storylines going to the final round, and a whole bunch of us just forgot that the best guy playing golf currently, and one of the guys that has really kind of played the majors, the best out of that group that was vying for that championship, ended up doing it. But I mean, yeah, it was a crazy week. It's just crazy when it ends, really. I mean, for all of us. I mean, spend so much energy and time into it, and then you're driving to the airport all of a sudden. You're like, wait, this thing already happened?
Yeah, because there's a ton that goes into it, and we're going to get into a lot of that. I know we're really interested in getting into kind of the nuts and bolts, what goes into the production, because obviously it's a ton. I've seen you've been tweeting about it today, so obviously we're going to get into that real quick. Again, for those that don't know, Shane Bacon, Fox Sports, hosts the Clubhouse Golf Podcast. I actually listened to the Paul Azinger one from last week. I was telling Shane a little bit beforehand. Great insight. Obviously, with the access he gets from Fox, he's able to get a lot of great guests. So check that out if you haven't. Shane's basically, you're just a golf nut. You've worked for AOL, Yahoo Sports, CBS Sports, basically anything golf, you've done it.
Yeah, I mean, if they paid me, I would do it. Honestly, that was kind of how I got into it. I mean, I started my own blog back when blogs were a thing, and it was called Dogs That Chase Cars Off That Leach Rubino quote. And
Shane, blogs are still a thing.
Well, I mean, it's still a thing, yes, but it's not like everybody does the individual, like you have the cute blog with the cute name. I feel like, it's under your umbrella, or Bleacher Report or something like that. I feel like those are where like the professional bloggers sit. The amateur bloggers, like what I was doing, where I would misspell like every other word. I feel like that's kind of gone away.
Again, still relevant.
Well, we do still do that, but you're right that like Trent and I actually both started doing the same shit. We were just kind of cranking our own personal blog, emailing it to anybody that we could possibly ever hope to work for, and voila, you never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah, and look at you guys. I mean, look at you. You guys are like one of the most popular podcasts in the world, and you guys get to get hit, on your ass by golf clubs. I mean, it's a glamorous business that we're in.
It's really right. We're very classy. We've really made it. Our parents are very proud of us. It's really impressive stuff.
Has the bruise gone away from Paige? I am actually interested.
I got to tell you, Shane, I don't know if it's my body, if I'm just like superior, but it went away within like a week of it happening. It is completely gone right now.
No way.
I mean, I've played golf with her. I mean, her club head speed is like sneaky fast. And when I saw that, I was like, man, that could be there for like weeks on end.
Dude, she was competitive as shit too. Like, she was not holding back on that swing.
Okay, really quick, for people that like look at Paige, they're like, oh, she's pretty, whatever. She like legitimately is like one of the coolest people that you'll meet in the business. I mean, like she is like down to do stuff. She's got like a great personality and sense of humor. I mean, legitimately like a great human being, which in this business you can run into a lot of people that are the opposite.
I think people would be stunned if they met her, that she's very insightful, she's very smart, she's cool as hell, and will do pretty much anything we want to do. So
as we saw,
as
we saw with you.
Exactly. And she's I think people probably try to give her paint her with like, oh, she's just a hot chick that holds a golf club. That could not be farther from the truth. She's cool as shit, and she's got some absolute game, which is impressive.
Yeah, she's got serious game. I mean, I think I've lost more money to her than I've definitely won for sure every time we go out and tee it up. And I mean, and she'll tell you, she'll definitely remind you every time you talk about it that you've lost money. But yeah, it was. Like the U.S. Open week. Let me just say, when you go to the course the first day, and when you leave the course the last day, that feeling of relief from like not, like having Brooks Koepka get up and walk out of an interview or something. I mean, it really is like a business where you feel like, you're just trying to make sure that you don't do anything that like sticks out. And I mean, I was just kind of happy that went down. I mean, you get to interview these guys. And the thing too is like pre-interviews, you're asking these guys to talk to you before they go out. And I really get surprised a lot of the time the players are as cool as they are about it, because I mean, I played competitive golf for a while, and you get there and you're locked in and you're ready to go. And I mean, I know it's their job, but I always get so surprised that the players are as cool and as willing to do a lot of the stuff as they are. I mean, it makes my job a ton easier, let me tell you.
Is it really in the back of your mind, like you're trying to not go viral in the wrong way? Like you don't want Koepka getting up, you don't want Patrick Reed getting up and storming out of there?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of what I'm doing with them. I'm just trying to have a conversation. Like I don't want to ask them the generic golf question, even though, I mean, at times you do. But I'm just trying to ask them a question that I would want to know the answer to. If they did something on the course, if they had a great run, I mean, when we had Paul Casey, I had Paul Casey on Friday, he makes that 8. I mean, I asked him about it, because if you remember, he basically swung and almost missed it and then had to chip out sideways. I mean, those are the types of things that I'm interested in knowing, because he makes 8 and then he makes 5 or 6 birdies in a row after that. As a golf fan, I mean, I'm a golf nerd. You guys said it. I mean, I want to know those types of things as well in the back of my mind. So, those are the types of things I'm kind of focused around. I mean, of course, sometimes you have to ask, what would this mean to you and things like that. I mean, but again, that's relevant as well, because at the end of Saturday, what do we have, like 12 guys that had a chance to like legitimately win? I mean, when you have that, there really is kind of an overview type of question that you should bring up and ask them about.
Right, and how tough is it at that point? Because, Trent and I were talking, that's a lot of guys that are coming in. They're coming in quickly. How hectic is it behind the scenes when they're shuffling guys in?
It is hectic. And well, at one point this is pretty funny. At one point on Thursday, so Fowler shoots 65, okay? Well, Tommy Fleetwood, I think he'd shot 5 under. And I have somebody that helps me out. Her name is Caddie Miller, and she'll go grab. She actually is a great player. She played in the first time I met her. She played in the 4-ball. The first time we did the USGA 4-ball at Bannon Dunes, and she'll grab players for us through the USGA. And I was like, hey, I want Tommy and I want Ricky. But you kind of start prioritizing that, right? So Ricky shoots 65. Ricky's obviously a very, very big name. So Tommy Fleetwood walks up and Ricky's about to come up. And so I'm like, hey, Tommy, man, listen, I hate to do this, but do you mind chilling for like 2 minutes? We can interview Ricky Fowler live. And I mean, again, so cool. He gets it. He understands. I mean, Ricky Fowler shot 65 and tied a U.S. Open record in the first round and all that stuff. So, it is a little – Thursday and Friday I feel like is a little bit more hectic than the weekend, because you've got guys coming off both sides. And at the same time, I mean, all of a sudden you've got 3 hours of break, and then all of a sudden all these guys are coming off the golf course. So, yeah, it's a little bit of shuffling, but it gets a little bit calmer over the weekend.
So you said that, I think the director was at the course, over 10 times or whatever. How many challenges come up? The fact that this is a brand new venue, nobody's ever really, outside of the amateur, put on a legitimate, 4-day major championship type production like Fox has to do. How much of a challenge is that going to a new place?
Oh, it's just crazy. It's funny too. Chambers Bay was a challenge, and Chambers Bay was probably more of a challenge because just logistically, it was really, really tough to get stuff certain places. But we went to Oakmont, and it's like Oakmont's like setting up a barbecue in your backyard. Like, people know where stuff goes, because
right.
They've done it so many times. Like, where towers were, where NBC put towers, when they had the last, U.S. Open there in 07. It was really funny. It's like, it's very comfortable. And then you go to a new place, and the reason you have to go back so much is, for instance, there was going to be a grandstand, I think, behind the 6th hole, the par 3. And our director was telling us that they went back on a trip and they decided they were going to put a grandstand there. So, he's got a TV tower going to lean against a grandstand, basically. And so he's got to basically change the logistics all the way around that to get that to freestand. I mean, there is, producing golf, as I always say, it's like 18 football fields.
Right.
If you do a football game, where the football is going, where the action is. When you do golf, it's 18 holes. So, that's the same as calling it. I mean, when you talk about like Joe, Joe is watching a football game at Lambeau Field, right? He's looking at the game from his tower. And then you do a golf tournament, and you're watching it from screens because you're hopping from hole to hole to hole. So you're basically relying on all of these other people way more than you would any other sport. It is crazy. It's really crazy to walk through the compound to go get lunch, and you're walking through like 50 trucks, and you're like, I can't believe this is what goes down. It's unbelievable. Those thousands of people, they're working on it.
So talk a little bit about, let's get into a little more details about the coverage. The Pro Tracer, I believe it was on all 18 holes this year. I think most people are a massive fan, but I love it because I think even kind of the really casual golf fan that tunes in, they usually have no clue, how much the ball's moving, how guys are shaping it, who hits it what way. I think that's the coolest aspect of it. From your guys' end, what does it take to put that on? Why isn't that on every tournament? What's kind of the philosophy behind that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's simply that, when Fox got these USGA events, they were like, we're going to lean on technology first, and let's make sure that, above all else, when people are watching this, they're getting to see the newest and most innovative ways to present golf. And so, that was basically how it went. Let's find these things and do it. I mean, I think that's when you see the side-by-side shot tracer of it right. in the air, with the Pro Tracer. I mean, golf's a hard sport to follow when you're watching on TV because you don't really know where the ball goes. I mean, think about watching, if you go watch the 86 Masters, you don't know what kind of ball flight Nicklaus hit on 15 right. or 17, I mean, none of us know. And I mean, it's funny when you look back at some of the Tiger shots, even in the early 2000s. I mean, it's like shot tracer porn. I mean, you wish you could have had it back then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that Kepka 3-wood on 18 he hit when they had the tracer and you could see that low bullet. I was sitting by, I was sitting by. I mean, it wasn't Curtis, but it was somebody, and right when they hit it, it was a player, and he goes, "Oh, baby," because he knew it was that low, like, stinging bullet, and he knew it was going to be, it was hit really, really hard. And I mean, without that, we wouldn't have known that. We would have thought it was up in the air, or was, maybe it was a little bit of a draw or a fade or something like that. So, I mean, that's the philosophy. It's why not? I mean, why not? If it takes a little bit more technology, if it takes more cameras, it brings something more to the viewer. And I think, I mean, universally, everybody wants more Pro Tracer. I think there's apps now that you can have for your own shot. Trust me, there's been a couple that I do not want out there. But I fortunately posted a couple.
Yeah, the ones I've seen, it's nice because you can actually just tell it where the ball lands, so you can just lie, which is great.
Oh, look, that was beautiful drawing.
So even you guys had I saw you guys getting like a little bit of hate on this, but the mics inside the cups, people thought you guys were like piping in noise and things like that.
I know, they always think that. That's why I have that picture on my phone. I grabbed one last year. I think it was like Friday. I grabbed one in the truck, and I just took a picture of it to show people. They think it's fake. And,
right.
The idea, okay, so here's the idea behind that. It's not as much to hear the ball go in the cup, even though that is an addition of it. It's to hear convos on the green. So if you think back to like the two biggest, most important moments really of our coverage, number one was Dustin last year at Oakmont. That whole conversation you hear with the ball moving, that was all mic. That was all the mic in the cup. So it's more that than it really is picking up the cup noise. The idea is that if anything's happening around the green, if there's, a guy ruling, or if the guy's got to move a mark, if there's a conversation about a read, that picks that. So that's why that's really cool. I mean, it's in all 18. It's just, again, it's something else. It's like, we're always trying to think of these types of things. I mean, people always say, put a camera on a Caddie. I'm sure the Caddies probably at some point will have like a GoPro on their hat or something. But that's
love
just
that.
a little way of us to get some noise,
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back. I mean, obviously the biggest storyline throughout the whole week was the golf course. You played it, what was it, like a month or so ago?
Yeah, I played about 4.5 weeks ago.
So what were your original thoughts on the course? Would you have expected it to kind of turn out the way it did, that type of thing?
Yeah, so I played it in September with my dad. I like to go out to these places before we do the media day, because the media day, it's a little stop and talky and you do some videos. I like to actually go play it, so you can actually play 18 holes and get a feel for it.
Right.
When I played it in September, I thought that we'd see low scores. Like I thought we'd see kind of what we saw. When I played it 4 weeks ago, it was blowing probably harder than it blew yesterday. I mean, I'd say it was blowing 20, 25 in our face, like that western wind that came out like basically in your face on 3 and 4 and 15, and that's kind of what these guys had on Sunday. And I mean, I shot like 90. I did so bad. I hit it all over the place. I hit it in the fescue, and I thought then if it blew like that, we'd see 4, 5, 6 under wind. But it's a golf course where, as you saw, the wind is the defense. I mean, if the wind wasn't blowing, the big story early was that fescue getting cut down. I mean, if they hadn't cut that down, it wouldn't have affected the scores. I mean, this was a place where, with that wind, these guys aren't going to miss those fairways that much. I mean, I think Koepka hit 87% of the fairways, and he's hitting at like 340 every time. I mean, these fairways were receptive, and the rain obviously didn't help. But I'll say this: if they went back in 2 months, okay,
yeah,
I think you could see 4 under wind. It's just all predicated on how the wind blows there. I mean, that's really the only defense the place has. And if it doesn't rain, those greens can be firm. That shot Justin Thomas hit on 18. We were talking about it at dinner that night, and Steve Flesh said, he said, if it hadn't rained before the ball got off the green, and instead it stopped 18, and he's got an eagle putt. So, I mean, it was really weather. It felt very openish like that.
Yeah, and it was interesting because even that pin on 18 on Saturday, we watched Fleetwood finish, and he was chipping it all over the green. So it's like I feel like people can't really tell that shot that JT hit was that good.
Oh, he sat down. When he sat down with me, we went through the highlights. We've got a little monitor. It's not a very big TV. And he said to me, he's like, this is the one I'm most excited to see. He just wanted to see how it reacted.
Right.
Coming in like that and landing. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it didn't play that hard. I want to see the U.S. Open play that. Saturday was one of the most fun days I've ever had watching golf. I mean, it felt like the final round of the 2011 Masters, really, to me.
Yeah, and it was with all the drama. I mean, it was funny because JT, his 63 happened with the eagle, and everyone was going nuts. And then we still had, I feel like an hour and a half of awesome golf after that, where it was like
Brad Faxon said during a break, he said, "Are we off at 6?" Our producer's like, no, we're off at 7. Like, we have a whole another hour. It felt like that was the end of the day,
Definitely.
So right now, it's Monday. How relieved are you? How good are you guys feeling? Are you exhausted? You've been up all week. What's the feeling like right now?
Yeah, I mean, last year was more exhausting for me because of the rain delays. I had to go super early and stay all day.
Right.
So Oakmont felt a little bit more draining. I mean, everybody's really, really pumped. I thought the coverage came off great. I mean, the mix of technology, the comfort level everybody has with each other. I mean, Azinger could talk for days and I would listen. You know, I mean, I think there's like little additions, like Ken Brown's great. You know, Gil does such a great job of just explaining golf courses. You know, I go to dinner with Gil and just let him talk. I don't even say anything. I just want to hear about how he looks at golf courses and sees things. You know, it's so funny. It's like every single architect that walks through is like, the 12th hole's the best. And you're like, well, I guess the 12th hole's the best. Like, you know,
Right.
You and I will play it. Go, that's a cool hole. That's a cool hole. But they all are like, that's the best hole here. And you're like, oh, I don't really understand it, but okay. But no, I think all in all, everybody was really, really happy with the way it came out. And I mean, you know, I think we would have loved to see, you know, maybe a closer into it. But, I mean, what can you do? Koepka plays like that. I mean, you can't do anything about that. Guys are going to win these events when they do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's as guys like us that are we just want as much drama, carnage as possible.
Exactly,
we would love to hate on it, but I mean, he blatantly played better than everybody else. Like you said, I mean, he hit 17 out of 18 greens yesterday. He was, I think, 87% fairways and 86% greens regulation for the week. I mean, you just can't hate on that.
No, it was funny. So I did an interview with Koepka on Friday, and we didn't air it because we're like one of the mantras that Fox does that I love, and it's, I mean, even if I wasn't a part of it, I would love it. Is, you know, over the weekend, it's let's show golf. You know, like let's show as much golf as we can. So if I do an interview, a lot of the time it's taped because they don't want to interfere with the live golf going on. You know, I mean, people want to see golf; they're tuning in to see that. So I did a sit down with Koepka, and I asked him. I said, you know, 36 holes. You know, you played really well. You know, how you feeling about the weekend? You know, do you think you have a chance? All this stuff. And he said, he just looked at me and goes, "It's Friday, bro." And I was like, nice. You know, like that's the guy. Like he's just a dude, man. Like he's unbelievable at golf. He knows he is. And you know, it was a golf course that, you know, in hindsight, we probably all should have picked, you know, him and, you know, some of the bombers. And I mean, one of those guys was going to have a good week, and you know, it just turned out to be Koepka. But I think all in all, on our side of things, we were really, really happy. I mean, I thought Oakmont was great, and really, I mean, the drama on Sunday with all the stuff with Dustin, you know, I mean, it kind of played our story out for us. And this year, you know, we got to really draw the picture, and I thought everybody on our side was really happy.
How much talk was there of trying to pay off that pilot from flying around the course?
Oh my goodness, I got so many people on Twitter, and they're like yelling at us, like
right, like you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, the guy, and I know at Augusta they have a no-fly zone, I think, over the golf course, and I think they do it at the PGA. But I was interested. I don't know if they do it at the U.S. Open or not, but it was like around the perimeter. So it wasn't like flying straight over the golf course. So maybe there is, but it was like around the perimeter. It was nonstop, and it was crazy. Like I think it was Friday. Somebody was like, "God, I hope that guy's not here all weekend." And I was like, "I know." And then of course, what was it? Flying around all weekend.
Right. Yeah, I love the people on Twitter that are expecting you guys to like shoot him out of the sky.
Yeah, like what are we supposed to do? Like call the guy? Like we don't know who it is. It was like a cross dusting plane. You know?
All right, Shane. Well, if for those that don't know, that don't already follow and already subscribed, the Clubhouse Golf Podcast, Shane Bacon on Twitter. We really appreciate you joining us, especially after such a long week, man.
For sure. Can I ask you guys a quick question?
Absolutely.
Did you guys think Koepka was going to win going into Sunday?
No.
Who'd you guys have?
So, I mean, I'm very biased because I'm a big gambler, so I had bet Ricky 18-1 at the beginning of the week. So I was basically like, oh, yeah, Ricky's just going to win. And in order to make it more fun for me, I just put all my eggs in that basket no matter what.
Yeah. I thought he was going to do it, too. I thought it was going to be Ricky.
I thought it was going to be Ricky. I know a lot of it. It actually made me a little concerned when everyone was picking Ricky, even Saturday night, because, like, that never works out well. It was, and I just thought, even, like, Brooks looked so good Saturday, too, that I was like, well, he can't look that good against Sunday. And then, I mean, I felt like even 3 or 4 holes in, he comes out and birdies 1 and 2 and did it, you know, pretty fucking easily. So I was thinking, like, this is not looking good for my Ricky bet.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was just mashing it. I have a degenerate buddy of mine in Vegas that's basically lived there since he was 19, and he asked me 4 names every time. You know, who's 4 guys you like? And I just out of nowhere said Tommy Fleetwood. And so he was, I mean, my phone battery was probably at like 40%, and about, you know, 60% of the battery usage was my buddy texting me going, is this guy going to do it? Oh, he made a birdie. You know, he makes like this 8-footer for par on 3, and he's freaking out. So it was a good week, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, and yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit of time. I actually go to Scotland on Wednesday to go play golf, so I don't have that much time off, and then I go straight to the Senior Open. So it's back to back to back. But I mean, I don't think a lot of people are going to complain to me.
You poor bastard. Who's got it worse than you?
It's so sad to go play golf in Scotland. I know.
All right, Shane, we really appreciate it, man. We'll definitely have to have you back on. And I mean, awesome week. I thought we loved the coverage. We thought you guys did a great job.
Shane, you were great. You had an awesome week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, take care, man. This next bit of the show is brought to you by the Foreplay merch store. Go to barstoolsports.com/Fore. That's barstoolsports.com/FORE. Trent, we got all kinds of good stuff in the store.
We have made ourselves quite a collection in the Barstool store.
We've got our brand new Saturdays are for
FORE.
Get it?
Yep.
The boys shirts with our cool new logo of idiots like us taking a drop because we do dumb shit on the golf course.
We've got
bad shots.
You made a good point this weekend on Twitter. Our most underrated shirts are the American guys shirts between Patrick Reed and Jordan Spieth.
The American guys shirt is a classic. It's also going to have unbelievable longevity because I don't see that team going anywhere.
Oh, yeah, they'll be here forever.
President's Cup, Ryder Cup, whatever it is, those two guys are going to be there. We got the I Love Foreplay koozie pack. We've got the golf towels, our hot item. They're actually very high quality.
They are.
Which I think stuns people. I think the reason that they're selling so well is because when people get them and take pictures of them, other people see how high quality they are, see how good they look. Boom, put them up there.
I think the same goes for the polos. Those are high quality. We got a bunch of those in there now. Got the navy. We got the green and yellow. Those are high quality. When people get them, they're shocked. It's great.
We are not messing around in the store. So go to barstoolsports.com/Fore. That's barstoolsports.com/FORE. Get yourself some gear. Next up, we got my good buddy, Mike Welch. Welchie, he's played plenty of professional golf. He's a very, very good player. He knows his shit. He caddied at the U.S. Open this past week. He was there all week. He was on property. Like I said, he was caddying during play, so he's got a very good perspective as well on the course. Enjoy this bit with Welchie. All right, now we're joined by a good buddy of mine, Mikey Welch. Welchie's been referenced on the podcast a couple times. He actually, I was just thinking about it. You beat Renner in terms of making your first appearance on the Foreplay podcast.
Yeah, how about that? I don't know if he's going to be happy about that one.
The People's Golfer OG is going to be pissed.
I know, right?
We've been doing this podcast for a few months now. I don't think I've seen Riggs this excited to interview somebody in a long time.
So Welchie and I, for a quick little background, Welchie and I played golf together quite a bit last year. We had some wild rounds, some really good times. Welchie played so you caddied this last weekend in the U.S. Open, which we're going to get to. You've also played in the U.S. Open 09 Bethpage.
Yes.
So that one I was doing a little I was kind of looking back, going through the rabbit hole of Wikipedia, of different articles. That one was pretty rain-soaked as well.
Yeah, I mean, that week I think I was slated to tee off like last on Thursday, and I didn't end up teeing off till Friday afternoon.
Jesus.
So that was kind of hard. I mean, I had the nerves built up for 2.5 days.
Yeah, no shit. You're finally playing the U.S. Open. You got to wait an extra day.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was such a great week, though.
So you've caddied. You jumped on the bag, what, a couple months ago for Sam?
Sam, no, I just did the last 3 weeks for Sam, ending yesterday.
Okay, gotcha. So he's been ripping it up on the web tour. You guys go over to the qualifier for the U.S. Open. Tell us about that day, because that day is a grind.
Yeah, it's a grind, and it was raining all day, so we had the rain gear and everything in the bag, and it was, he doesn't feel the weight of that, but I do for 36 holes in the rain.
Hell yeah.
But no, in the morning, he was one over early through, actually birdied the first and bogeyed the second, and then next thing I know, he's signing for 10 under the first round and just started reeling off birdie after birdie. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, you were texting me and you were like, dude, we didn't even know what he was fucking at. We were like, we'll just add it up at the end.
Yeah, I kind of was like, at the end, I'm like, would you shoot 9? He's like, no, it's 10. I'm like, oh, great, even better.
That's fucking fantastic. So you guys qualify. All of a sudden you're like, well, in a week and a half or a week, we're going to Erin Hills. You didn't know, right? You weren't 100% sure you were going to get the call up?
Yeah, I had said to him that I would do the 2 weeks, and we got in. I wasn't sure if he was going to ask me if he has other plans or anything, so it wasn't really my spot to be like, hey, I'm caddying for you,
Right.
And then an hour or two went by after he did all his interviews course I'll do that.
So, all right. So you guys rolling Erin Hills. I mean, everybody's talking about the course. It's a beast. It's new. You know, it's 7,800 yards or whatever. What were kind of your first impressions when you guys rolled onto the property?
It was awesome. You know, it's cool being around all those guys. I mean, the rough was getting a lot of talk, obviously, but you know, when we got out there, we realized that the landing areas are quite big. I mean, if you do hit a bad shot, you're gonna, you know, find that stuff, and you should be penalized. You know.
Right.
But I mean, there's half the holes you have 50 to 60 yards to hit it in the fairway. So I mean, these guys are the best in the world. They should be doing that.
What were the practice rounds like? I mean, are you like, all right, this is my big, like I'm caddying on the biggest stage I've ever caddied before, and I'm gonna get real serious out here?
Yeah, you know, like the U.S. Open, a lot of first timers, like Sam's a first timer, they kind of run into a habit of they overdo themselves, and they're, you know, by Thursday they're kind of gassed already. So we tried not to run into that. We played 9 holes on Monday, 9 holes on Tuesday, and then we didn't play on Wednesday. He just practiced, and I walked the course. So, you know, we were ready to go. You know, it didn't turn out well for us, but you know, he played great. You're going to hear a lot of his name again. He should be on the big tour next year. He's in position to do that now in the web. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's young. So, I mean, obviously he'll be fine. It wasn't like he played terrible either. What did he shoot, like
no,
5
he
over?
Played fine. He played fine, yeah. We had a couple mistakes towards the end of our first round, and then, you know, we made a couple bogeys on the front 9 of the second round, and he birdied 11, 12, and 14 to get us back to 3 over, I believe. And at the time, we're thinking the cut's 2, and there's a couple birdie holes left, so he had me excited anyways, and then we just let it slip with a bogey here coming in. But yeah, it was all in all, it was a fun week, man.
Yeah, he also, I mean, he played better than a couple big names like Day, little Rory.
I told him after the first round we shot 76. I'm like, Rory shot 78 and J-Day shot 79. He's like, it makes me feel a little better.
You're like, let's go. So you talked about walking the course. I mean, these caddies talk about this all the time. Like, we saw Bones out there walking the course. Are you just kind of strolling around taking a couple notes, or are you like pretty fucking into it the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, the yardage books is so good. It's going to be hard to find something that's not already shown to you in the yardage book. But you're kind of just trying to get a feel for the greens and like where the best place is if you happen to drive it in trouble, where to kind of leave it to get out of there. Or you know, you're just trying to be prepared to what, you know, the USJ is going to move all the tees around and whatnot. So you just got to be prepared to, you know, any challenge they throw at you, you're ready for it.
We famously had Kip Henley on this podcast, and he said that the guys who are out there walking the course are just like a bunch of tryhards trying to look busy.
Yeah. No, but because we only played each hole once, you know, we played front 9 Monday, back 9 Tuesday. You know, if they throw a couple different tee boxes at you, he needs to know where the line is and what the cover is and all that type of stuff. So that's basically what you're out there trying to do. It's mainly the tee shots.
So we kept hearing a ton about, you know, if the wind was up. Obviously, Koepka shot, you know, fucking 16 under, tied Rory's record. There were 31 guys that finished under par. If the wind was up all week, like, you know, what would it really have played like, you think?
I mean, the wind was up yesterday, and he shot 5 under and made it look awfully easy.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess the fairways being so wide, those guys, best players in the world, like, if they're in the fairway, they're going to be able to attack any golf course. I mean, I still think 10 under is winning if it's windy.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. And they kept talking. They're like, all right, this is the day that everybody's been looking for. That's winds up. The USGA is pumped. And, I mean, a lot of the guys in the final groups didn't shoot under par, but that was like the easiest. That was like the easiest 67 I've ever seen.
It was robotic. It was a close tournament, and all of a sudden it was over.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was interesting. How tricky were the greens? Because they kept kind of saying, like, yeah, the greens are pretty straightforward here. They're, like, not that complicated.
They're not. There's few that are exceptions. Like, that 9th green is insane.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you guys saw. Like,
the Sunday pin there was great.
10 shots yesterday that landed 10 feet short of it and got down that slope, and that one's a little crazy. But for the most part, yeah, they were all relatively flat, and you could run onto most of the greens in a lot of spots. So.
What was
they wanted a lot of people to be in the fescue more, I think.
Right.
They're going to bring the fairways in a little bit for that to be the case. These guys just hit it so straight.
Yeah, it seemed like, you know, all the drama about them cutting the fescue on, what was it, Tuesday, where they decided to cut a bunch of it?
Yeah, that was funny because the next day I watched Wednesday. I'm like, a couple of these tee shots look a lot wider all of a sudden, and I had known they had cut. And then I kind of figured that out walking the course.
You trying to act like, oh, yeah, they totally cut up here. Like I just fucking figured that out 2 seconds ago. That's great. Or are you guys going to get back out there together anytime soon, or what's the plan?
I think we are, yeah. I mean, I got some other stuff going on where I'm trying to teach a little bit, and then we talked about it right now with my little girl. You know, it's kind of hard to be. I was just on the road for 3 weeks. So.
Happy Father's Day, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
First Father's Day, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, my man.
Unfortunately, missed the cup, but fortunately, I got home. I was home in time to spend that here. So.
That's nice. Yeah, we might have to get you. Speaking of teacher, we might have to get you to take a look at Trent's swing.
Yeah, I see that. He needs a little help.
I need a lot of help. That was very nice, but I need a lot of help.
We had Michael Breed looked at him, and Breed was just like, "Oh my god."
Breed literally told me to quit the sport.
Yeah, Breed told him to quit.
Yeah, what's that famous line? Stop playing for 2 weeks, then quit.
Yeah, right. I think that's your plan, Trent.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Welchie. Well, thanks a lot for hopping on, man. I wish I was hoping if you guys would have taken that thing down, that would have been a nice little payday for my guy Welchie.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, guys. Well, thanks for having me on. I mean, I'm a listener as well, so it's nice to chat with you guys.
All right, dude. Take care.
No worries. See you guys.
See you, man. Next up, everybody's favorite segment from the gallery. Huge shout out to the Foreplay patrons.
Yep.
Who have really stepped up their game the last couple of weeks.
Been sending in some great ones.
We are getting low. We're getting stockpiled again. But do not forget, email us, foreplay@barstoolsports.com. Follow us on all of our social media shit at ForePlayPod. Couple really good ones this week.
We do have good ones. We'll start with listener Joe. He titled his email "Taking balls home from the range." My buddy wasn't having a good range session, and he hadn't finished his jumbo bucket yet, so he took the balls with him and is saving them for a later date. Is this a psycho move? What do you think?
This is fucking insane.
Okay. I'm very glad.
We have Sunshine, who's like about to defend this guy to the grave, I think.
Yeah, Sunshine, let's hear your stupid reasoning for this.
Well, I mean, if it's a jumbo bucket, clearly it's a large bucket, and he didn't finish it, so he paid for those balls. I don't know why it's psycho to...
But that'd be like going and bowling and being like, oh, we didn't finish all the frames, we're going to take the pins home with us.
That's a little different
it's a little different, but what I would say is you made my point for me. It is a jumbo bucket. He paid for it. Range balls aren't $1 million. You can just leave those there. It's not like you're wasting a ton of money.
I mean, but it's a lot of golf balls. I mean, if it was like 10 or 12, that's one thing. But if, it's 55 balls, I probably keep them, right?
If it's that
Sunshine, exercise a little responsibility and foresight. If you go out there and you make the overhead investment of a massive jumbo bucket of balls, you either hit all those fucking balls during this session or you're done.
Yeah.
You give them to somebody else. You give them to the little couple that's there hitting whatever.
If he misjudged the amount of balls he's going to hit by that much, I'm glad he's losing money.
That's on him.
I mean, I'm not saying I'd make the same mistake. I'm just saying that if I was in his position, which I wouldn't be.
So let me ask you this. What's the process of packing up the balls? You sneak them into like your bag, like you bring a backpack? How are you bringing the balls with you?
And imagine if this is a place you go to all the time and people see you doing this.
And you roll up to the tee and you're like dropping balls out of your personal belongings onto the thing.
I guess you have to own it as the crazy driving range ball stealer guy. And
you just got to walk around like, yeah, fuck persona. Yeah, I'm doing that.
I'm not going to lie. There's got to be an age cutoff for this, because if like a 75-year-old guy does this, I'm like, that's fine.
That's fine.
Go right ahead and do that. You are, you're trying to be...
If you're like a 31-year-old, like normal life person, and you're doing this, you're crazy.
That's really what the real... whatever is if it's your age. If you're 75, it's fine. If you're 31, it's not fine.
Then again, if you're 75, you can do anything in the world.
Well, that's kind of, it's an extension of you can
drive however you want. You can do
it's
anything.
The old Seinfeld bit. You don't even look when you're backing out of the driveway.
Totally. You can go. You can just go play golf. Like, you don't have to have a tee time. You show up and start hitting golf balls.
If you've lived for 75 years on this godforsaken planet, you can take as many range balls home as you want.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a pretty psycho move. It's a weird one to get away with, but I guess if you're going to do it, you just got to own it. Next one, we have Chelsea. This one's about girlfriends who play golf discussion.
Because we had this, I think we did it a little bit on KFC Radio, and then we did it a little bit more on here talking about, is it a good idea to play with your girlfriend, or is it a good idea to play with your girlfriend who's good at golf if she wants to play golf?
Right. So I have to start by saying that Chelsea might be a stripper because her name is spelled Chelsi. I.
You could spell
just
Chelsea. Chelsea. It's like Spanish. She could spell that name in any different way. Her parents decided to go with S-I. That's tough. If she's doing anything other than stripping, she is, she's doing well.
So this submission is about her and her boyfriend golfing. Just heads up to Chelsea's boyfriend. Your girlfriend might be a stripper. Wanted to chime in on the whole girlfriends who golf discussion. I golf, as does my boyfriend. We used to have zero fun every time we tried to golf together. Yeah, no shit. So we gave up. We golf separately now. If we ever do golf together, it is with another couple, so we don't even have to ride in the same cart together or really even interact, if I'm being honest. Works great for those who need a solution.
There you go. Play trends helping other play trends with advice like this.
Yeah, this is genius. Basically, you're just saying that like you guys hate to do shit together. This is like marriage. You guys are basically married.
Yeah, either they're married or they're going to break up soon because they clearly don't like spending any time together.
Right. That's like if you're in a relationship, you like refuse to go to one-on-one dinner with your girlfriend. You make sure that like your good buddy and his significant other, who can be anyone on earth, you guys go out together, you sit next to your buddy, you guys just get shit-faced.
Yeah.
Have a great time. Who cares what they're talking about? They could be on a different planet. They do their own thing, you do your own thing. That's just kind of life in general.
Yeah, this is outside of golf. It could be anything.
So shout out to Chelsea for understanding that. I will say that if you're in a relationship with someone who golfs, I think this is the best solution. I think she nailed it.
I think so too. I the part where she says, or really even interact at all, if I'm being honest, that should concern Chelsea's boyfriend in terms of whether she really likes him or not, because I'm guessing Chelsea is not a married woman. They're kind of in a relationship where it's been going for like 6 months to 2 years.
Right.
That should be a cause of concern probably, but hey, it's a great solution if you want to golf with your girlfriend.
Yeah, the only other solution is the one I've been preaching forever, which is you take your girlfriend to the range and you give her horrific advice so that she sucks and she hates golf. And
sabotage it.
Solves everything. Submit stuff if you got them to from the gallery. We love getting stuff from the patrons. Foreplay at BarstoolSports.com. Quick reminder, we're going to be up at the Travelers Championship this week. Not on the weekend. We're going to be there Wednesday night. Chicago Sam's Bar. We're planning on being there around 8 p.m. We're going to clarify that on the interwebs.
Yep.
So check that out. We're going to be following Keegan. We're going to be passing out shirts. We're going to have Keegan's Army. We got to follow the People's Golfer 2.0.
Yeah. Keegan, what are they going to say? Keegan versus everybody, I think is what they said last time.
I think it's the Keegan versus everybody. It's got the little JR,
like,
memorial.
What's the little badge on the
badge.
heart on the shoulder. It's a very classy shirt.
It's a classy shirt, so we're going to be giving those away. We want everybody to join us. We're all going to follow Keegan on Thursday. We're all going to meet up at the bar, have a good time, hang out a little bit on Wednesday night. So hope to see everybody there. This was a great one. The U.S. Open was great. We got the British Open coming up next month.
Yep.
We got a couple big guests lined up.
We sure do.
Leading into that, which we're unbelievably excited about. A couple big names. May or may not be major champs. May or may not have won the tournament that we're talking about. So get excited. It's a good time. We're in the middle of the hot stretch of golf season.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I got, Trent.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, living large. I hit it hard. Most people would have given up by now. All the rough I've seen, these ups and downs. Somehow I just keep on playing through. So all you critics, pull up a chair. At the winner's circle soon, I'll be there with a high five and a smile for you. Hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. It's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, living large. I hit it hard. Had enough of people trying to tell me how to live my life. These lawyers and strings spending money like my ex-wives. Sure, I gamble and I drink and smoke 3 packs a day. Hell, ain't country music supposed to be this way? It's from the heart, man. I hit it hard, man. So far, man.